as we think about moving to Business Central, as we think about the cloud, as we think about sort of all those variables, the first thing I want to say again is that planning is so very important to this process. Some of these questions may sound like theory, and people want to just jump in and like in the old days, throw the CD in and let's see what happens. I would really discourage you from doing that. Checking out what Business Central looks like from a feature functionality standpoint, yeah, great, jump into that. But I really think it's important that you spend the time to think about what does this path look like for you in the system migration, looking at ISVs, looking at platform options, and really making good decisions. So that's what we're going to talk about with these 4 points: is how do we make good decisions? What do we need to be thinking about? I think good planning also sets you up for success. So getting your users on board. The thing to remember is change is really hard for people, and I would encourage you not to underestimate that. Negative users can really kill a project. I unfortunately have been a part of some of those where you get some people that it doesn't really matter what you do, they're never going to be happy. I think it's really important that you proactively identify those people and really pull them into the project so that you can get them on board, so that you can have a successful transition. I think it's really important to communicate goals. So as we look at these questions, knowing what the goals are, communicating them with your team, communicating them with your end users. I would encourage you to make this project engaging and fun. Now, as goofy as that is, and I'm not sort of a rah-rah, yay kind of guy, but I've worked on some projects where they've done some really creative things to make the project process engaging and fun to your users. It really helps this process along. And again, take time to train, time to set up your new users or your new system, and let your users see that new system before they transition. I would add one more point to that. Just don't underestimate the change to the web client. Honestly, I'm surprised by the number of people that get tripped up in that transition. So just be proactive with your users. All right, so business drivers. What are the business drivers that surround your decision to move to Dynamics 365? I think it's so important to identify what these project goals, so that everybody knows what they are and everyone knows what success means. So make sure you do that. I think identifying project goals. If people don't know that really moving to the SaaS to eliminate hardware and maintenance costs is a goal, I think it's important to articulate that so people see, while they may not have a direct impact on those things, just know that that's part of what's happening. Maybe you've got improved business processes. It could be office integrations, it could be platform integrations, it could be really eliminating, again, the upgrade maintenance needs of the system. Articulating those so everybody knows what those things are is really key. If you're thinking about a cloud move, if you're looking at cost adjustments, that sort of thing. If you're taking that re-implementation approach and you're really allowing a system reset to happen, just tell people that. Be really upfront about that as a stated goal of the project. If you're looking at new business or new functionality in Business Central, I think making sure that people have visibility to that is really key. Sometimes when, in the sales process, we look at really cool feature functionality in the system, and in the midst of the implementation, those things sort of get left behind, or maybe they kind of get pulled off of a project somewhere, or scope gets confined a little bit and those things get knocked off, and they never really get in front of anybody again, and then they just sort of drop off everyone's radar. I think it's really important, if you're looking at new processes and new functionality, identify it, make sure it stays on a list someplace so you can actually take advantage of it. If removing customizations in ISV is part of your goal, part of your business drivers, make sure people know that. So when they say, the old system used to do this and this and this, and you can take them back to the goal and say, our stated goal was to eliminate customizations to the system and use as much out-of-the-box functionality that we can. That's going to help redirect some of those questions and maybe some of the frustration. Future of your organization. Organizations change. They change. Some of us has changed quite a bit. Processes change. Reasons for doing what you did changes. So what does the future of the organization look like? So in many ways, this is backward focused to say, what could we dismantle that's no longer needed? But future, what sort of groundwork can we lay during this process to help enable the future things that we see that our organization is going to do? So organizational change, process change, asking how do we keep the system up to date with our process needs. As you're reviewing staffing, you're looking at job responsibilities. How can a system facilitate that? If you look at future, ERP changes, what's coming, what's on the roadmap for Business Central, maybe additional functionality that's in Business Central that you never looked at. I think cash flow is one of them. As I look at my client base, there aren't a lot of people that use cash flow. Honestly, it's a fairly easy feature to implement. With Business Central, now we've got artificial intelligence. That's a component of the cash flow module. Add that to your list to make sure it gets implemented, as you move into the Business Central system. All right, success criteria. I think it's really important to identify what does success mean. So when you finish the project and everyone sits around the table and they go, well, was this a success or not? If you have not articulated the goals that you're after during the implementation, you don't know what success is. So everyone can sit there and have sort of this opinion of, well, did success work or not? And then, you'll get somebody that goes, well, I kind of missed that little field, so the project's not a success. Well, if you identify goals and identify what success means, then you know that you can attain success. Part of that success criteria, do not underestimate the amount of time that you should spend on testing and training. Too often I see in this move to Business Central is people think, well, it's a system upgrade. It is an upgrade, but just understand that change to the web client can throw people for a loop. So make sure that they've had an opportunity not only to work with the system from a training perspective, but I think it's important to work from a testing perspective. Enter your transactions in the system. Make sure you know how things navigate. It's easy to rearrange fields on a page. It's easy to change tab stops and enter keys so there's fewer fields I have to stop at. All those little things with your end users will really help the project be a success. Change management's another one. I think we still offer a session on change management. Stoneridge does. This is a key. I know the sessions that we do on change management internally from our consulting team are fabulous. They really help you think through change in an organization. I'm surprised how emotional a system update or a system change can be for people sometimes. So don't underestimate the need to manage change as part of that success criteria. I would also consider a phased approach. Now, I was on a call earlier today and I had someone say, phased projects never work. I think they can work. And what I mean by a phased approach is, my poster child with this is a client I implemented probably 5 years ago now. And what they really set up was a process of continuous improvement when they implemented the system. So, it has something to do with project management methodology, but what they did is they always had a phased approach. So every 2 to 3 months, additional feature functionality or reports or something was coming out in their Business Central system. So they always kept this snowball moving in terms of updates to the system. What I found in that as I look back at that project or just talk to their users is the users may get frustrated with the system, but they knew if they put a request in or wanted a process evaluated, the organization had a mechanism to listen to those issues, evaluate those issues, and make change. So instead of saying, well, that's the way the system works and sorry, you're out of luck, they put a process in place to deal with those issues. I honestly have never seen a more positive group of users in my life. And going into the project, they weren't real thrilled because they really liked their old system. They weren't real thrilled about the change, but they ended up to be some of the best cheerleaders I've seen. All right, last one. I think this is really important. Who's going to be on your project team? I think it's absolutely vital that you identify a team of people that are going to manage the project from your side as a client. So as a partner, we're going to provide a roadmap, we're going to provide a project manager, we're going to provide technical resources, all that sort of stuff. But from the client side, I really encourage you to have a team and have a team that has got a project manager identified, somebody with responsibility, but also authority that can do things. Have those technical resources, your IT people, but also have functional users on this team to help you evaluate what needs to be changed or what could be changed or what don't we want to change. A lot of important questions there that need to be answered, right? Partner on your team, we're a partner to be there. We will help you with a roadmap, we'll help you with project management, help you look at tasks, help you evaluate ISVs, help you evaluate customizations. We'll help you get there. And then the last point is I really encourage clients to have someone in a true leadership position on your project team from the client side. I think it's really important to get senior level leadership bought into a project because your core team members in particular, but your users in general are going to need time in their schedule to actually work a project. So if this gets added on, Mary's a great accountant, and she can kind of keep a task list. So we're going to make her the project manager, and Mary already has a 60-hour week, and then we're going to ask her to manage an upgrade project. That just doesn't work. Mary needs to be given time, removed some responsibilities so that she could manage a project. So I think it's just important for us to think through both what a project team would look like from your partner's perspective, but also what a project team looks like from the client's perspective. Most successful projects I've seen have a solid team on the client side taking responsibility. Again, we're a partner with you, but for the client to really own the project, that gives us the most success, most buy-in from the end users, and you'll have a happy team. I'm not going to guarantee you're going to have a happy team, but the likelihood that you're going to have a happy team is going to go way up.